I just watched the Melania documentary so that you don't have to, and I've got some thoughts. Stick around because I think that her true feelings about Trump kind of sneaked their way into the movie in ways that the filmmakers probably didn't intend. So here's the thing. I kept seeing tweets from people saying that they voted for Trump but would never see this movie. Only the most MAGA people would ever watch that, they said. Look, I voted for Trump, but if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm not a 100% Trump defender. I'd say I'm more of an honest critic, but I was curious about this. My theater was absolutely packed, and I was by far the youngest person there by probably about 50 years. But as far as the movie goes, it really fails to show us what the filmmakers promised, and that's where everything falls apart. In the opening, Melania tells us that this is a look at her transition from private citizen to first lady. And look, I get what she means, but let's be honest here. Her private citizen life is nowhere near what a normal person's private citizen life is like. It really comes off as more of a rich person lifestyle flex than an actual transition. And the movie makes that clear immediately. Everywhere she goes, there's a police escort, multiple police cars, streets blocked, Secret Service. The exhaustion is real, and that alone would have been an interesting angle for the movie, but instead, most of the movie is about fashion. Each outfit she wears gets a full behind-the-scenes meeting with stylists, changes, suggestions, ideas. And look, I get it. She was a model. That's her world, but it's completely unrelatable. It would have been far more interesting to watch someone like Usha Vance go through this process. Someone who actually had to adapt to that world, but Melania's already there. She's been there. The fashion dominates the first half of the movie, and quite frankly, it's exactly as shallow as it sounds. That said, and I mean this, it was actually quite impressive how involved she was in every outfit decision. But then they had her wear this hat for nearly a third of the movie, and I genuinely cannot explain that choice. It's awful. It's distracting. You can't see her face at all. I wish they would have just asked a normal person like me their thoughts on it, and I would have saved this outfit by simply saying that it looks like garbage. But there are some genuinely interesting moments. Shockingly, there's actually a sort of well-done Catholic scene. Part of the movie centers on her mother, who passed away January 9th of 2024. The one-year anniversary fell during their transition phase, and it was the same day as Jimmy Carter's funeral. We see Melania fly from D.C. to New York, and then she goes to St. Peter's Cathedral. The whole church is essentially shut down for her, which is strange to see. But she goes in, lights a candle, and she says a prayer for her mother. Now, as a Catholic myself, I was watching this like a hawk. Because when you light a candle like this, it's customary to drop some money into the donation box. It's not required, but it's expected. And she didn't do that, which is not really a surprise, but here's where it got funny for me. The camera actually panned down and showed the donation box. I'm shocked that no one on set caught that. Someone who knows the custom should have said something like, hey, maybe don't show that if she's not donating, but whatever. After she prays, the priest says that he'll say a mass in her mother's honor and asks if he can give her a blessing. This was a nice moment. It was a bit awkward, but it was a good moment. But the real humanizing moment came later. Melania met with Aviva Siegel, who was held hostage in Gaza. Her husband Keith was still captive at the time that they met. She and her husband had been together until Israel released all the women and children. Aviva met with Melania, and at one point, Aviva started crying. She said that her husband was always 100% with her, and now she isn't 100% with him. Melania had this quick, sharp, genuinely sympathetic, compassionate response. She immediately started soothing Aviva, saying that by fighting for his release, by meeting with her, Aviva was 100% with her husband. That was the best moment of the entire movie. It was honest, hard, and true. And that's when you actually see Melania. Not the image, but Melania, the person. If you're enjoying this kind of honest analysis, you need to subscribe. I break down culture, politics, and faith without the talking head nonsense. Just real takes from someone who actually thinks critically about this stuff. Go check out my other videos after you finish this one. Later, we also see her meeting with Bridget Macron and Corrine Rainier of Jordan about her work for children. She focuses on screen time and mental health. There's actually some substance there, surprisingly, but even those scenes kind of felt like an attempt to prove that she cares about real issues. But that's the thing about Melania's initiatives. She says, be best and fostering the future. They're real, but they don't have the immediate cultural impact of something like Michelle Obama totally redesigning school lunches. Now, instead, Melania's initiatives focus on foster kids and the poor, kids who actually need government help. But because of that, we often forget what she does. The movie does a good job of reminding us that she exists and actually does things to help. So at least that's something. But without Trump, this movie probably would have been the most boring thing I've ever watched, but Trump was hilarious. And he didn't perform for the camera. It was just Donald being Donald. The first time we hear from him is a phone call the day that the election was certified. He called Melania to brag. And Melania said she didn't watch it, and Trump goes, you really should watch it. They're saying it's unlike anything they've ever seen before. We won 312 to 226, and they're saying we won the popular vote by something like 2 million. It's historic. They've never seen numbers like this.
Historic, it's epic.
And Melania's just there on the phone like, yes, honey. Proud of you. Good job. Yes, good job. I'm proud of you, honey. But the funniest moment might have been in a production meeting for the inauguration. Trump randomly asks why the national championship in college football was being played on the same day as the inauguration. He was clearly upset that people wouldn't be watching him. Instead, they'd be watching Notre Dame and Ohio State. He said that the networks probably scheduled it that way on purpose just to spite him, which is just totally Trump. Then there's this. Trump is practicing his inauguration speech, and Melania comes in, and Trump makes her sit down and listen. Now, Trump says during his speech he'd be a president of peace. Melania suggests that he add "and unity" to that line. Then it cuts to the actual inauguration. When Trump says that line, Trump stops his speech, turns around, and makes a show of pointing directly at Melania. Camera catches it. It was funny, but it also underscores something that I never really noticed about Trump. He goes out of his way to acknowledge Melania in front of crowds. And we see this constantly from him. Melania just standing there behind Trump, stoic, doing nothing. And he'll be signing something in front of White House staff, and he'll say a few words of thanks, and then lean down to sign. And then, without any natural segue, he'll turn around and say something like, "Oh, and you all remember my wife, Melania, the best first lady we've ever had." It's a consistent pattern from him. Anytime she's with him, whether it's a short statement or a long speech, he makes sure to not only mention her, but to look at her, to give her a real moment. It's clear that he's proud of her, or at the very least, proud that she is his wife. But is Melania proud to be his wife? That's the interesting thing to discuss. Much of the movie is told through voiceovers from Melania. And in those voiceovers, it's very clear that she has a deep, deep love for her son Barron. Now, that's obvious. Less obvious is her love for Trump. What I think is that she's happy to be living the life that he gives her, the luxury, the importance, the power. But her love for the man, Trump, that might be lacking a little bit. I think Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime, but can we really blame her for not loving the man? And his personal life is unlovable, to put it one way. The movie doesn't say this outright, but it's there. It's there in the gaps between the voiceovers and the way she looks at him versus the way she looks at Barron. The fact that she's only ever with him during public events, it's clear that something is lacking in the way that she feels for him. Got one quick note as I was editing this. I realized that the whole section about Melania and Trump might sound like I'm making claims about their actual marriage, and in a way, I guess I am, and maybe I'm wrong to do that. If you think I shouldn't be commenting on their relationship at all, fair point, but I'm analyzing a documentary here, not their marriage, and in that documentary, her love for Trump doesn't come through the way that one would expect it to. I doubt that it was intended that way, but that's just what comes through, so that's what I'm commenting on, the film, not their private life. Am I glad that I saw the movie? Yeah, actually, it humanizes Melania in moments. I've always seen her as a robotic presence in the White House, just kind of there, not talking much, but we saw some real moments from her, some honesty, a decent look into her life. Should you see it? If what I just described interests you, sure. If not, then don't. It's not a must-see, but it's not terrible either. The critic score on Rotten Tomatoes is 8%, which is harsh. Reading those reviews, it's clear that they're avid Trump haters, but the audience score of 99% is obviously inflated too. So really, I'd say go just see if the same coldness toward Trump shines through the way it did for me, because I think that's the real story that the movie just accidentally tells. Thanks for sticking around. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Would you watch it? Have you seen it? If so, let me know if you came away with the same read on Melania and Trump that I did. Hit like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.